Minho walked through the busy checkpoint at Aegis Station with a small hand in each of his own. On his left, Deho looked around with bright, curious eyes. The 4-year-old Vrakan had green scales that caught the light, and tiny claws that gripped Minho's fingers. On his right, Jiwoo walked more carefully. The 3-year-old Korth had soft fur and small pointed ears that twitched at every sound. Look, look! Deho pointed at a huge alien with 4 arms carrying boxes. So many arms. Minho smiled. Yes, that is aggression. They are very strong. Jiwoo pressed closer to Minho's leg. There were so many people here. So many sounds and smells. She was not scared, but everything was new and big. They reached the security checkpoint. Minho had been through many before. He knew what to do. He pulled out his identification card and held it up to the scanner. The scanner beeped. Then it beeped again. Then it made a loud alarm sound. Red lights flashed above them. Words appeared on every screen nearby. Predator species detected. Class 4A threat level. Human authorization detected. Do not disturb. People around them stopped walking. Many moved away quickly. Some stared. Some looked afraid. Deho looked up at Minho. Why are the lights red? It is okay, Minho said calmly. The computer is just confused. It will be fine. 6 security guards ran toward them. They wore armor and carried weapons. But they stopped a few meters away. They did not come closer. One guard spoke into his radio. We have a situation. Human with 2 unregistered predators. Repeat, human has predators. Jiwoo started to shake. The guards looked scary. She made a small sound, almost like a cry. Minho knelt down. He put one arm around Jiwoo. Shh, it is okay. No one will hurt you. I promise. 2 of the guards raised their weapons when Minho moved. But he moved slowly and kept his other hand where they could see it. A woman in a different uniform arrived. She was human too. Her badge said Security Officer Hyejin. She looked at Minho, then at the children, then at the guards. Lower your weapons, she said to the guards. The system says human authorized. Stand down. The guards lowered their weapons but did not leave. Hyejin walked closer. She looked at Minho carefully. Sir, I need to see your documents. Minho stood up slowly. He reached into his bag with one hand. He pulled out a data pad and gave it to her. Jiwoo stayed close to his leg. Deho watched everything with interest. Hyejin read the screen. Her eyes went wide. You are a licensed xenobiologist and child care specialist? Yes, Minho said. I run a daycare on Haven Colony. These are Deho and Jiwoo. Their parents are diplomats. They are here for a conference. I am taking care of the children while they work. Hyejin looked at the cubs again. Deho waved at her. Jiwoo peeked out from behind Minho's leg. These are children? She asked. Yes, Deho is 4. Jiwoo is 3. A tall alien with feathers rushed over. He was a Trilaxian. His name tag said Administrator Velk. He looked very nervous. What is happening here? Why are there predators in my station? His voice was high and worried. Hyejin showed him the data pad. Sir, this human has proper authorization. He is a licensed caregiver. Velk's feathers puffed up. I do not care about licenses. Those are dangerous creatures. They need to be in a secure holding area. Minho's voice stayed calm, but it got harder. No, they are children. They are not going into a cage. This is a safety issue, Velk said. His feathers shook. What if they attack someone? Deho tugged on Minho's shirt. When is lunch? I am hungry. Minho reached into his bag without looking away from Velk. He pulled out a small container and gave it to Deho. Here, meat cubes. Eat slowly. Deho sat down right there on the floor and started eating. He looked happy. Velk stared. You feed them? Of course. They get hungry just like anyone else. More people were watching now. Some had cameras. This was becoming a big problem. Jiwoo started to cry. All the people, all the noise, all the lights. It was too much. She was scared. The security guards tensed again. One started to raise his weapon. Minho picked up Jiwoo before anyone could react. He held her gently and spoke softly. Shh, little one. You are safe. I am here. Everything is okay. Jiwoo buried her face in his shoulder. Her crying got quieter. Minho kept his eyes on Velk the whole time. Administrator, Hyejin said quietly. Sir, he clearly has control of the situation. Velk looked around. Many people were watching. Cameras were recording. He needed to make a decision. Fine, he said. But they cannot just walk around my station. Officer Hyejin, Take them to a private waiting area. Keep them there until I decide what to do. Hyejin nodded. Yes, sir. She looked at Minho. Please follow me. I will take you somewhere quiet. Minho helped Daeho stand up. The little Vraken was still chewing his food. They followed Hyejin through a side door, away from all the staring people. As they walked down a quiet hallway, Daeho looked back at the checkpoint. He waved at the security guards. 3 of them waved back without thinking. Then they looked at each other and quickly put their hands down. Hyejin saw it. She did not say anything, but something in her face changed. She looked at Minho differently now. She looked at the cubs differently too. They reached a small room with comfortable chairs and a table. It had cameras, but it was much better than a holding cell. Wait here, Hyejin said. I will bring you water. And maybe some toys? She looked at Daeho and Jiwoo when she said it. Minho smiled for the first time since the alarm started. Thank you. Toys would be good. After Hyejin left, Minho sat down. He still held Jiwoo. Daeho climbed into another chair. Are we in trouble? Daeho asked. Minho shook his head. No, some people just need time to understand. We will be patient. Okay, Daeho said. Then he thought for a moment. Can I have more meat cubes? Minho laughed quietly. After we see your parents. Not too much, or you will not eat dinner. 2 hours later, Minho sat at a metal table. Daeho and Jiwoo played on the floor nearby. Someone had brought them blocks and soft toys. Jiwoo was building a tower. Daeho was knocking it down. She did not mind. They were both laughing. Administrator Velk sat across from Minho. 2 other officials were there too. One was a Zelian with silver skin. The other was a Korthian, same species as Jiwoo. Behind a glass wall, more people watched. Velk looked at his datapad. Mr. Minho, I have read your file. You have worked with children for 10 years? Yes, I started on Earth, then moved to Haven Colony 5 years ago. And you work with predator species children? The Zelian official asked. She sounded curious, not angry. I work with all children. But yes, many of my students are from predator species families. Other daycares will not take them. Velk's feathers ruffled. Because it is dangerous. Minho stayed calm. Is it? How many attacks by predator cubs do you know about? The officials looked at each other. No one answered. That is because it does not happen, Minho said. Children are children. They need food, sleep, play, and love. That is true for every species. The Korthian official leaned forward. But these species have hunting instincts. Sharp teeth, claws. So do humans, Minho said. Human children bite, they hit. They can be aggressive. We teach them not to. The same works for other species. Daeho ran over to the table. Minho, look! He held up a toy. It was a small spaceship. Minho looked without turning away from the officials. That is very nice, Daeho. Can you show Jiwoo? Daeho nodded and ran back to Jiwoo. The Zelian official made a note. You did not even look at him. I did not need to. I could hear that he was happy and excited, not afraid or hurt. I could tell where he was by his footsteps. I know what is normal for him. Velk looked nervous. That sounds like you are always watching them. I am always aware of them. That is what good caregivers do. The Korthian official spoke again. Tell me about their biology. What do you know about Korth children? Minho sat up straighter. Korth cubs develop their hunting reflexes between ages 4 and 6. Before that, they are mostly defensive. Jiwoo is 3, so her claws retract automatically unless she is very scared. She needs protein 3 times a day, but she can also eat fruits and vegetables. She sleeps 12 hours a night plus 1 nap. She is at the age where separation from parents causes anxiety, so I keep pictures of them where she can see them. The Korthian official blinked all 3 of her eyes. That is correct. All of it. Now do Vraken, the Zelian official said. Vraken cubs like Daeho have very fast metabolisms. They need to eat small amounts every 2 hours. They are cold-blooded, so they need warm environments. Daeho likes it at 28 degrees. They are naturally curious and will put things in their mouths, so I have to watch for choking hazards. Their scales are soft until age 5, so rough play can hurt them even though they look tough. Velk looked at his datapad again. He seemed less sure now, but why you? He asked. Why does a human do this work? Minho thought for a moment. Because someone needs to. And because I am good at it. You are not afraid? The Korthian official asked. Afraid of what? Of Jiwoo? Of Daeho? Minho shook his head. No. Should I be afraid of a 3-year-old who likes stuffed animals and gets sad when it rains? Jiwoo walked over to the table. She looked at Velk. The administrator went very still. She pointed at his feathers. Pretty, she said in a small voice. Velk did not move. His eyes were wide, Jiwoo, Minho said gently. Mr. Velk is working right now. Come back here, please. Jiwoo walked back to Minho. He picked her up and set her on his lap. She has never seen a Trilaxian before. She thought your feathers were pretty. She did not mean to scare you. Velk took a breath. I was not scared, but everyone could see that he was. In another room, Hyejin sat at a computer. She was reading about Minho. Everything he said was true. His record was perfect. No accidents. No complaints. Only letters of thanks from parents. She found commendations from 3 different governments. The Vraken Council praised his work. The Korth Assembly gave him an award. Even the fierce Dralaxian Empire sent him a medal. She read more. Minho had started his daycare after seeing how many predator species parents struggled to find childcare. Most places would not take their children. Some places charged huge amounts of money because of insurance costs. Other places were just afraid, so Minho opened his own daycare. He took only predator species at first. Then he added prey species too. Then humans. Now his daycare had children from 15 different species, all playing together. There was a video file. Hyejin played it. It showed Minho in a bright, colorful room. 10 children played around him. She saw Vraken cubs, Korth kittens, a young Dralaxian, 2 human toddlers, and several others. They were all happy. They were all playing together. In the video, a Vraken cub bit a human child by accident during play. Minho was there instantly. He checked both children. The human was fine. He taught the Vraken to be more careful. He taught the human that sometimes accidents happen. Both children said sorry and went back to playing. Hyejin watched the whole video. Then she made her report. Back in the meeting room, the officials were finishing their questions. Daeho had fallen asleep on the floor. Jiwoo was getting sleepy in Minho's arms. One last question, the Xelian official said. The cubs' parents specifically asked for you. Why? Because no one else would help them, Minho said simply. They came here for important work. They needed someone to watch their children. Every facility on this station said no. So they called me. And you just came? Velk asked. Of course. These cubs needed help. The door opened. Hyejin walked in. She gave Velk a data pad. He read it. His feathers drooped. Your credentials are in order, Velk said quietly. You may stay on the station. But Officer Hyejin will monitor your activities. Hyejin spoke before Minho could respond. Sir, I do not think that is necessary. Velk looked at her sharply. It is my decision. Yes, sir. Minho stood up carefully. He held Jiwoo with one arm and picked up Daeho with the other. Both cubs slept against him. Thank you for your time, he said. May I take them to their quarters now? They need proper beds, the officials nodded. Hyejin led him out. As they walked through quiet hallways, she spoke. I read about you. Your work is impressive. Thank you. I do not think you need monitoring. Minho smiled. But you will do it anyway. I follow orders. But between us? I think Administrator Velk is wrong. They reached a set of comfortable quarters. Inside, Minho put the cubs in their beds. He covered them with blankets. He checked that the room temperature was right for both of them. Hyejin watched from the doorway. You really care about them. They are in my care. Of course I care about them. He turned to face her. Tomorrow I promise to take them to the station park. Will that be a problem? Hyejin thought about it. Then she shook her head. No, but I will come with you. To observe. That is fine. We would be happy to have you. The next morning, Minho walked through the station with Daeho and Jiwoo. They were going to the park. The cubs were excited. Daeho kept asking questions. Jiwoo held Minho's hand and looked at everything with big eyes. Hyejin walked a few steps behind them. She wore normal clothes today, not her uniform. She was trying to be less obvious. People stared as they passed. Some moved away quickly. Others stopped to look. A few smiled. A human woman with 2 children saw them and waved. Her children waved too. Daeho waved back happily. A Trilaxian family saw them and quickly crossed to the other side of the walkway. Jiwoo noticed. Her ears drooped a little. Minho squeezed her hand gently. It is okay. They are just being careful. They do not know you yet. Why? Jiwoo asked quietly. Because you are different from them. Different can seem scary if you do not understand it. But you are not scary. You are wonderful. Jiwoo smiled a little. She held his hand tighter. They reached the park. It was beautiful. Real grass grew under a dome that showed blue sky. Trees provided shade. Equipment for climbing and playing stood in different areas. Different sections had different gravity for different species. Can we play? Can we please? Daeho was already pulling toward the climbing structure. Yes, stay where I can see you. And be gentle with the equipment. Daeho ran off. Jiwoo followed more slowly. Minho sat on a bench where he could watch both of them. Heejin sat next to him. They watched the cubs play. Daeho climbed fast. His claws helped him grip. Jiwoo jumped from platform to platform. She was very graceful. They are good at this, Heejin said. They have natural abilities that help, but they also practice at my daycare. Physical play is important for development. Other children were playing nearby. A group of young Trilaxians played with balls. Their parents watched closely. They looked at Daeho and Jiwoo with worry. One Trilaxian child, younger than the others, kicked their ball too hard. It rolled toward Jiwoo. She picked it up. The child started to walk toward her. Then the parents called out, "No! Come back!" The child stopped. They looked confused. Jiwoo held out the ball. "Here," she said, but the parents had already run over. They grabbed their child and the ball. They did not say thank you. They just left quickly. Jiwoo stood there. Her ears drooped again. She looked sad. Minho walked over. He knelt down next to her. "You did a kind thing. You tried to help." "They ran away from me," Jiwoo said. Her voice was very small, I know. "But that is about them, not about you. You are kind and good. Some people need more time to see that," a different voice spoke. "Can I play too?" A young Grexian stood there. Grexians were big and strong. This one was only 5 years old, but already twice the size of Jiwoo. But Grexians were peaceful. They ate plants, not meat. Jiwoo looked at Minho. He nodded. "Okay," Jiwoo said. The Grexian smiled. "I am Talon. Want to play chase?" Soon Jiwoo, Daeho, and Talon were running around together. They took turns being it. They were having fun. Other children watched, but did not join. Hyejin watched everything. The Grexians do not fear predators? No. Their species is large and has thick skin. They evolved without many natural predators. They do not have the same fear response. They sat and watched for a while. Then something happened. A young Trilaxian, different from before, was running. They were not watching where they were going. They tripped and fell hard. They started crying. Jiwoo saw it happen. She ran over to help. The Trilaxian parents saw a Korth running toward their child. They screamed, "Security! Help! Predator attacking!" Minho was already moving. He got there at the same time as Jiwoo. He picked up the Trilaxian child gently. He checked their leg. It was not broken, just scraped. Jiwoo stood next to him. She looked worried. "Is the child okay?" Heejin was there now too. 2 other security guards ran up. They had weapons ready. "Lower weapons," Heejin said firmly. "No threat here." The parent rushed over. They reached for their child. Minho handed them over carefully. "Your child has a scraped knee. It will be fine. You should clean it and put on a bandage." The parent held their child tight. They looked at Jiwoo with fear. They looked at Minho with confusion. "She was helping," the Trilaxian child said. They had stopped crying. "She looked worried about me." The parent looked at Jiwoo again. Jiwoo looked back with big, concerned eyes. Minho spoke gently. "This is Jiwoo. She saw your child fall and wanted to make sure they were okay. She was not attacking. She was caring." The parent did not know what to say. They nodded slowly. "Thank you," they said quietly. Then they carried their child away, but the child looked back and waved at Jiwoo. Jiwoo waved back. The security guards left. People who had been watching started to relax. Some looked thoughtful. Hyejin looked at Minho. She had seen everything. She had seen how fast he moved. She had seen how he positioned himself between Jiwoo and any possible threat. She had seen how he protected both children, the Trilaxian and the Korth. "You are very good at this," she said. Minho was checking on Jiwoo. "Are you okay?" Jiwoo nodded. "Is the other child okay?" "Yes, you did a good thing." "You were kind," Jiwoo hugged him. Minho hugged her back. They played for another hour. Then they went to a restaurant for lunch. It was a place that served food for many species. Hyejin ate with them. She asked them questions. She learned about their lives. She learned about Minho's daycare. She learned about the other children who went there. She learned that at Minho's daycare, a Dralaxian cub played with Tralaxian twins every day. She learned that a human girl was best friends with a Vracan boy. She learned that children from 15 species all played together, learned together, and cared for each other. "How do you make it work?" she asked. "I teach them that everyone is different and that is okay. I teach them to be gentle and kind. I teach them to help each other. Children learn fast when you give them a chance." After lunch, they walked back to the quarters. Daeho was getting sleepy. Jiwoo was tired too. At the door, Hyejin stopped. "I need to file a report about today." "I understand. I am going to recommend that the monitoring stop." "You do not need to be watched. You are doing everything right." Minho smiled. "Thank you." "No, thank you. You are teaching me something important today." "What is that?" "That maybe the most dangerous beings in the galaxy can also be the safest." Later that night, Hyejin sent her report. She wrote about everything she saw. She wrote that Minho was professional, careful, and kind. She wrote that the cubs were well-behaved and happy. She wrote that there was no threat. She recommended ending the monitoring. But Administrator Velk did not agree. He called a council meeting for the next day. He wanted to discuss new rules about humans and predator species. The situation was not over. It was just beginning. The council chamber was full. Representatives from 12 different species sat in a circle. Administrator Velk stood at the center. He was speaking about safety and rules. Minho watched from a side room through a screen. He could see and hear everything, but he was not allowed in the chamber. The cubs were with him, playing quietly with their toys. A human woman sat in the council. Her name was Borum. She was a diplomat. She looked calm, but Minho could tell she was tired. She had been arguing for hours. "The rules exist for good reasons," Velk said. His feathers were puffed up. "Predator species are dangerous. Humans are dangerous. Together they are even more dangerous," a Zelian representative spoke. "But the human has done nothing wrong. His record is perfect, yet," Velk said. "He has done nothing wrong yet. But what if something happens? What if one of those cubs hurts someone? Who will be responsible?" Borum stood up. "The same person who is responsible when any child misbehaves. The caregiver. We do not lock up all children just because one might do something wrong." A Trilaxian representative spoke nervously. "But these are not just any children. They are predators. My people have evolved to fear them. We cannot just turn that off." A large Korthian representative, a female, stood. She was the ambassador from the Korth Assembly. "The child you are talking about is one of mine. Her name is Jiwoo. She is gentle and kind. She would not hurt anyone." A Vracan representative spoke next. His voice was calm but strong. "My people trust this human with our children. He has cared for hundreds of Vracan cubs. Not one has been hurt. Not one has hurt anyone else. Your fear is not based on facts." Velk looked around. "Perhaps your species do not understand. You are predators yourselves. You do not fear each other. But my people do. We need protection." Borum pulled up data on the screen. "I have information about human childcare facilities across the galaxy. There are 37 facilities like Minho's. They care for over 2,000 children from various species. The incident rate is 0. 0 attacks. 0 injuries from aggression. Actually, these facilities have fewer accidents than standard childcare centers." "That does not mean it is safe," Velk argued. "What would make you feel safe?" the Zelian asked. "What evidence do you need?" Before Velk could answer, alarms started blaring. Red lights flashed. An automated voice spoke. "Emergency. Coolant leak in Engineering Section 7. All personnel evacuate. Emergency teams respond." The council members stood up quickly. Everyone started talking at once. A security officer ran in. "Administrator, we have people trapped in the affected area. The coolant is spreading fast." Velk's feathers went flat. "How many trapped?" 7, including 2 diplomats who were touring the facilities. The Korthian ambassador went very still. "Which diplomats?" The officer checked his pad. "A Korthian and a Vracan." In the side room, Minho heard everything. He looked at the cubs. They were still playing. They did not understand yet. He walked to the door. Hyejin was outside. She looked worried. "Their parents?" she asked quietly. Minho nodded. "I need to get the cubs somewhere safe. Then I need to help." "Help? With the rescue?" "I am trained in emergency medical response. And I know Korth and Vrakan biology better than most of your medical team. Heejin made a decision. Give me the cubs. I will keep them safe. You go help, Minho looked at her. You sure? Yes, go. Minho went back inside. He knelt down by the cubs. Listen to me carefully. Something happened at your parents' work. They are okay, but I need to go help them. You are going to stay with Officer Heejin. She will keep you safe. Jiwoo's ears went flat. Are Mama and Papa okay? They will be. I promise. I will bring them back to you. Daeho looked scared. You are coming back too? Minho hugged them both. Of course. Always. Now be good for Officer Heejin. He gave them to Heejin. Then he ran toward the emergency command center. In the command center, Velk was trying to coordinate the rescue. Medical teams were suiting up. But there was a problem. The coolant is toxic to most species, a medical officer was saying. Our people can go in with suits, but the suits are slow. We might not reach them in time. What about humans? Borum asked. Humans have better tolerance for toxins. Some, but this coolant is still dangerous. Minho walked in. I can go. I have emergency response training. And I know how to treat both Vrakan and Korth patients. Everyone looked at him. Velk's feathers puffed up. Absolutely not. You are not authorized. Borum pulled up Minho's credentials. Actually, he is. He has level 3 emergency medical certification. That is higher than half our team. Velk looked at the screen. He looked at Minho. He looked at the time counting down. The trapped people were running out of air. Fine, he said. But you follow orders. You do exactly what the team leader says. Understood. 10 minutes later, Minho was in a protective suit following a rescue team through damaged corridors. The coolant made the air shimmer. It smelled sharp and wrong. 3 other humans were on the team. 2 engineers and 1 medic. They moved fast but carefully. They found 5 workers first. They helped them to safety, but 2 were still missing. The Korth and Vrakan diplomats. They were in observation room 3, an engineer said. That area is completely filled with coolant now. The team leader checked her equipment. We have 15 minutes of air left. After that, we have to leave. They reached observation room 3. The door was damaged but sealed. Through a small window, they could see 2 figures. The Vrakan diplomat was sitting against a wall. He was conscious but injured. The Korth diplomat was lying down. She was not moving. We need to cut through, the team leader said. But the opening will be small. They started cutting. The coolant leaked in faster. The smell got worse. The opening was barely big enough for a person. The team leader looked at her team. All of them were too big. Minho stepped forward. I can fit. It is dangerous in there. The coolant level is high. I know. But I am the only one small enough. And those are my cubs' parents. I promised them I would bring them back. The team leader looked at him. Then she nodded. Go, 5 minutes. Then you come back whether you are done or not. Minho squeezed through the opening. The coolant was ankle-deep inside. He went to the Vrakan first. Can you hear me? Minho asked. The Vrakan nodded weakly. My mate. Help her first. Minho moved to the Korth. He checked her breathing. It was very shallow. She had given most of her oxygen to her mate. She was dying. He pulled out emergency medical supplies. His hands moved fast. He knew exactly what to do. He had studied Korth biology for years. He knew their pressure points, their breathing patterns, their heart structure. He gave her oxygen. He stimulated her heart. He injected medicine. She gasped. Her eyes opened. Time. The team leader called from outside. Minho helped the Vrakan stand. He supported the Korth. Together, they moved to the opening. The team pulled them through. Then they pulled Minho through. They ran. The coolant was rising. Behind them, the room collapsed. They made it out. Fresh air, safety. Medical teams took the diplomats. Minho pulled off his helmet. He was covered in coolant residue. He was exhausted, but he was smiling. He had kept his promise. Hyejin stood in a quiet room with Daeho and Jiwoo. She had given them snacks. She had shown them her security equipment. She had told them stories, but they were still worried. When is Minho coming back? Daeho asked for the 10th time. Soon, Hyejin said. She hoped it was true. Jiwoo sat very quietly. She had not said much. Her ears were flat against her head. She looked scared. Hyejin sat down next to her. Your mama and papa are very strong, and Minho is taking care of them. He promised to bring them back, right? Jiwoo nodded. Minho always keeps his promises? Heejin asked. Jiwoo nodded again. Always. Then believe in him. The door opened. A medical officer came in. The rescue team is back. Everyone is safe. Both cubs jumped up. Mama, Papa? Minho? All safe. Your parents are in medical. They need rest, but they will be fine. Minho is with them. Heejin took the cubs to the medical center. They ran down the hallway. At the door, they saw their parents lying on beds. Medical staff were checking them, and Minho stood between the beds, still wearing his damaged suit. Papa, Daeho cried. Mama, Jiwoo called. The Vrakan father held out his arms. Daeho jumped into them carefully. The Korth mother reached for Jiwoo. She hugged her daughter close. Both cubs were crying, but they were happy tears. The Vrakan looked at Minho. You saved us. Both of us, Minho smiled tiredly. I made a promise to your son. I keep my promises. The Korth mother touched his hand with her paw. Thank you. For everything. For saving us. For caring for our daughter. For showing patience when others showed fear. News of the rescue spread fast. By morning, everyone on the station knew what happened. They knew that a human had risked his life to save 2 predator species diplomats. They knew he had succeeded where others could not. The council met again the next day. The chamber was even more full than before. People wanted to watch. Administrator Velk stood at the center again. But he looked different. His feathers were calm. His voice was quieter. I called this meeting to discuss new protocols, he said. But first I need to say something. He looked at where Minho sat with the cubs. Their parents were there too, still recovering but insisting on attending. I was wrong, Velk said. I let fear guide me instead of facts. I saw danger where there was only dedication. I saw threat where there was only care. The chamber was very quiet. Mr. Minho showed us something important. The same traits that make humans and other predator species dangerous can also make them protective. Strength can be gentle. Hunting instincts can become caring instincts. The ability to harm can become the ability to heal. He turned to address the full council. I move that we not only approve Mr. Minho's credentials without any restrictions, but that we establish new guidelines based on his methods. Guidelines for cross-species childcare. Guidelines that focus on ability and training, not on species. The Zelian representative stood. I second this motion. The vote was quick. Only 2 members voted against it. Everyone else voted yes. The Korthian ambassador stood. I have one more proposal. The Korth Assembly wishes to award Mr. Minho the Star of Protection. This is our highest civilian honor. It is given to those who protect our people at great personal risk. The Vrakan representative stood too. The Vrakan Council wishes to do the same. We have the Guardian's Medal. We would be honored if Mr. Minho would accept it. Minho looked surprised. He stood up carefully so he would not disturb Jiwoo, who was sitting on his lap. I am honored, he said, but I was just doing my job, taking care of those who need it. That is what caregivers do. Exactly, Borum said with a smile. That is exactly why you deserve these honors. A week later, Minho stood at the departure gate. He had a bag on his shoulder. Daeho held one hand. Jiwoo held the other. Their parents stood behind them, fully healed now. A small crowd had gathered to see them off. Yijin was there. Administrator Velk was there. Several families with children were there. Some were predator species. Some were prey species. Some were mixed families. A Trilaxian mother approached nervously. She had 2 young children with her. Mr. Minho, I heard about your daycare. Would you take Trilaxian children? Minho smiled warmly. Of course. All children are welcome. The mother looked relieved. We are moving to Haven Colony next month. It would be good to know our children will have a safe place. They will be safe, and they will make many friends. Other families came forward with similar questions. Minho answered each one patiently. He gave them information. He gave them hope. Yejin waited until the crowd thinned. Then she approached. I filed my final report this morning. Oh? What did it say? It said that I learned more from watching you for 3 days than from my entire security training. It said that real safety does not come from fear and weapons. It comes from understanding and care. Minho looked at her with respect. That is wise. I also requested a transfer. Where? Haven Colony. I am going to help implement the new childcare protocols. Someone needs to make sure they are done right. Minho smiled. I think you will be good at that. I also thought, Maybe I could volunteer at your daycare sometimes. If you need help, we always need help. You would be welcome. The departure announcement sounded. It was time to board. Daeho waved at everyone. Bye, thank you for the toys. Jiwoo waved too. She was not shy anymore. Bye, come visit us. Many people waved back. Even Administrator Velk waved, his feathers fluttering happily. As they walked toward the ship, Minho passed through a security checkpoint. The scanner beeped. Words appeared on the screen, but this time they were different. Human authorized personnel, predator species care specialist, exemplary service rating, no alarms, no red lights, no warnings to stay away, just recognition, just respect. On the ship, Minho helped the cubs get settled. They had their own seats by the window. They pressed their faces to the glass, watching as the station got smaller. The Fraken father sat next to Minho. What you did this week changed things. Not just for us, for everyone. Minho shook his head. I just showed them what was already true. That caring has no species boundary. That protection comes from love, not fear. That children are children no matter what they look like. The Korth mother smiled. You are too modest. You are a teacher. Not just for children, but for all of us. Daeho came over with a data pad. Minho, can I watch a video? What video? The one where you are a hero. Minho laughed. I am not a hero. I am a daycare worker. Jiwoo climbed into his lap. You are our hero. Minho hugged her gently. Then that is all I need to be. The ship jumped to faster than light speed. Stars streaked past the windows. They were going home. Back on Aegis Station, things were changing. New protocols were being written. Old fears were being questioned. Families that had been turned away before were now welcome. In his office, Administrator Velk was writing a message to other stations across the galaxy. He was telling them about what he learned. He was encouraging them to think differently about humans and predator species. He ended the message with words that surprised even himself. The most dangerous beings in the galaxy can also be the gentlest. We feared the predator. We should have trusted the caregiver. On Haven Colony, Minho's daycare was getting ready to welcome new students. Word had spread about what happened on Aegis Station. More families wanted to bring their children. More species wanted to be included. The daycare would need to expand. They would need more teachers. They would need more space, but that was okay. There was a human named Hyejin who wanted to help. There were families who wanted to volunteer. There were people who wanted to learn. Change was coming. Slow change, but real change. And it all started because one human refused to see children as threats. He saw them as children. He saw them as individuals who needed care, patience, and love. He saw them as they truly were, and in doing so, he helped everyone else see them that way too. Sometimes, the most powerful thing a person can do is simply care. Care without fear. Care without judgment. Care because everyone deserves it. That is what Minho did. That is what made him extraordinary, and that is what made him human. The end.